Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 and welcome back. Welcome back to the new nerd in town, TV Talk. We're here. It's the new year. Happy 2016 to everybody out there who celebrated, which should be everybody. To all those who celebrated Christmas, a very belated Merry Christmas. For all of those who celebrated Hanukkah like I did, a very happy belated Hanukkah. For the birthdays, happy belated birthdays. If your birthday's today, happy birthday. But most importantly of all, happy New Year. Welcome everybody back to TV Talk with the new nerd in town. In case you don't know who I am, if this is the first time that you've seen this face on your computer screen or have heard this voice on your iPad, iPhone, Android, random devices because they just ship all their stuff out to everybody else, my name is Dave. I am the new nerd. This is the new nerd in town TV Talk, the first episode ever of 2016 of TV Talk, and boy, do we have a doozy. Usually, for those of you who are not familiar with what we do here, usually I talk about approximately 4 to 5 TV shows an episode. It's about a 2-hour long episode that I stream here live on Twitch. Thank you very much, Twitch, for having me here, by the way. This is really, really fun. But I also cut all this up for podcasts, and I also cut everything down to about, a 30-minute, 45-minute show videos on demand for YouTube. So all of you that love watching certain shows can go back and can definitely check out what I've said review-wise, how I felt about it, all that kind of stuff. Tonight, we have a very special episode. I've been thinking for pretty much about a week as to what I should talk about for my first show back. Now, the last time I left, we had one of the biggest movies. In fact, it is climbing up both the domestic and the worldwide movie box office ever. And that is, of course, the 7th episode of the Star Wars saga, The Force Awakens. Now, we're going to get to that a little bit later. I've seen it only 3 times, and I do say only 3 times because there will be more viewings in my future. I just know that. It's got to happen. But I also figured, why not come back to the new nerd in town? Why not come back to streaming? Why not start off a special with a special? And if anybody who is watching or is listening can get the actual title and understand what the title is, it's called The Abominable Nerd. That's because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite shows on television ever. We're talking about Sherlock. Benedict Cumberbatch, Martin Freeman, Mark Gatiss, Stephen Moffat. The list goes on and on. It is an absolutely fantastic TV show. For all of you who love Elementary, just delete it from your DVR, go to BBC, go to PBS, and just watch Sherlock. It only has 9 episodes, but it has 3 seasons. Each episode's about, I think it's like 60 to 90 minutes. They're long episodes, but don't let that steer you in a wrong direction. The show is absolutely fantastic. Andrew Scott as Moriarty is maybe one of the best acting that I've seen in television. It's basically pretty much why I've started doing this stream, because I just want to talk about Sherlock till I go blue in the face, even more blue in the face than I'm here for. So we will be talking about the Sherlock episode, The Abominable Bride, which was the special that aired on New Year's Day. It is pretty much the only Sherlock we will see until maybe about 2017. Because, and I looked this up to back me up, but Benedict Cumberbatch is shooting Doctor Strange right now. In fact, a lot of the promotional material has just come out with pictures of Benedict playing Doctor Strange, which is a Marvel movie, or Marvel comic being turned into a movie as part of this whole MCU Disney universe type thing. Martin Freeman is also busy. He just finished shooting Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with, I think it was Tina Fey, maybe? I don't remember the movie poster that well, but I think it's with Tina Fey. And he's also in Captain America Civil War, which is coming out in 2016, which is this glorious year that we're in. Maybe I should throw up the lower third that says Sherlock. I should, right? Lower third, Sherlock. Nice. But before I actually get into Sherlock, I know I started that. How is everybody doing? How is everyone's holidays? How is your Christmas? How is your New Year's? I apologize for not streaming as much as I wanted to during the holidays. If you notice, I was doing a lot of stuff with Crit Camp. We were playing Ghostbusters. Chris and I went over Zombicide. We went over that episode and we killed it. And I've been playing Terraria, or as I like to put it, watch the other guys play Terraria while I go dig for other things. But I have to say, the holidays are very, very, very busy. My birthday is right before Christmas. Hanukkah runs right through there, and I am Jewish, so I do have to celebrate Hanukkah. There's just crazy schedules with work, and then you have New Year's, and then I have other family members have birthdays around this time. It was just absolute insanity. But also, all the TV shows I love to talk about, Arrow, Walking Dead, everything. Once upon a time, everything is currently on vacation. I mean, great, you guys get a vacation, so maybe I should get one? But I gotta say, I missed all of you. I absolutely missed all of you. I do want to try to get into some playing streams. We'll see how that goes. I do have some other things kind of working in the background type area. I don't have really like a crew. This is the team that is doing everything you see here. The televisions, the banners, the personality, everything you see is right in front of you. But I hope everyone had a great holiday. I had a fantastic time off, and my New Year's was pretty awesome. I gotta say, I found one of the very few free things that you could do in New York City for New Year's that didn't involve standing in Times Square with a bunch of people, trying not to be warmed up by said people who drank too much water bottles. I'll let your imagination go wild on that one. But let us get back to exactly what we're here for, exactly what you're here for, and that is to talk TV shows. And this episode, we're actually going to talk about we're gonna talk about Star Wars, and it's gonna be spoilerific. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be spoilerific. So, for all of you who don't know, but this is my spoiler screen. That's right. Anytime that comes up, you just know to just back off. Maybe lower the volume a little bit. And then for those of you watching, I'll throw up a safe screen that you can unmute. For those of you listening, you could just bring the volume back up. I'll tell you when to come back into the stream. But let's get started on it. So I found out my lower thirds work. So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight, and hopefully it will take an hour because the episode was just so epic, and that's the special of Sherlock. Sherlock is quite possibly one of the best, if not the best, TV show playing nowadays. Now, you'll hear me say this next year when more episodes come out about this. But Sherlock is just a TV show that gets you on a story level, gets you on a cinematography level, gets you on a character development level. It gets you everywhere. It is one of those episodes that brings you in and tries to involve you so that you solve the crime along with Sherlock. You don't do it as quickly as he does, but you understand all the clues that are there. You try to pick out all the clues that he sees, and you try to figure out which of the clues is going to lead you down the right track, and which of the clues is going to lead you on a different trail. This show has been up for 3 series, and I have to say, that it is.
The time has come.
Crit Camp.
Execute order.
Thank you so much
66.
for the host. Thank you very much. Chris over at Crit Camp is just giving me the host. It was right over here. It was kind of covering me, but we'll deal with that later. But anyway, thank you, Crit Camp, for the host, man. Thank you so much. Chris Mittens, everybody. He'll be in a little bit. It's only been out for 3 series, or seasons. The British call it series. I don't know why. But each of the 3 series tells you a different story. Now, out of those 3 seasons, there was really only one episode that I considered a disappointment, and that was The Hounds of Baskerville. It was kind of just a little too unbelievable. I mean, the stories and everything of Sherlock Holmes are meant to be fiction. There was no real detective like that, but Sir Arthur Conan Doyle really captured his audiences by making them feel like they were going to solve a mystery just as well as this Sherlock Holmes. And it kind of gives the audience that same feeling that they're just as smart, but then at the same time, you're not as smart as Sherlock Holmes. And I have to say, I think the casting really, really, really helped out with this television show. I do know that there are other iterations of it. This isn't the first time that we've seen Sherlock Holmes. There was 2 movies with Robert Downey Jr. playing Sherlock Holmes and John Watson being played by Jude Law. Those movies were great in the aspect of it captured the audiences by giving you action, and also playing a lot on the Sherlock Holmes's vices, which Robert Downey Jr., a man after my own heart, as being a very good actor, and a man who is able to turn his life around. He can play vices really well. I mean, Tony Stark with his drinking, and then his own personal problems. But he did play a very, very good and convincing Sherlock in that aspect. There's also the TV show Elementary, which I don't remember the actor's name who plays Sherlock, but they kind of went on a different route where they had a Joan Watson, not John Watson. And Joan Watson is, her name just... Lucy Liu. Lucy Liu plays Joan Watson, and I was interested. For the first season, I was like, all right, this could be good. It's like your regular crime show. You get to see some of the clues and some of the aspects of it. Having a Joan Watson rather than a John Watson was not really that much different. I mean, she played the same character. It was just you have a female instead of a male, and everything was fine. Where Elementary lost me is a very key point. Now, for those of you who know me, for those of you who've watched all the other episodes, you'll notice that, hey, crazy Serbian YouTuber, what's going on? No, The Bachelor does not start today. Or maybe it does. I don't know, Crit Camp. Does The Bachelor start today? That's on you, man. I can't watch The Bachelor. Now, for those of you who do know me, and you don't have to know me well, but for those of you who do know me, you know I'm a villain's, I'll just say it, I'm a villain's whore. I mean, let's go, Kylo Ren, come on now. I love villains, and where Elementary lost me is when they decided to take Irene Adler and Moriarty and make it the same character. And I was like, no, you really can't do that. I mean, maybe Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did that in the books. I have not, as everything else that I talk about, I have not read the stories. I actually wish I did. And maybe for my birthday or something, next year, someone will get me all the books. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I've also added another element to my streams. I figured I'd do a little bit of drinky poo. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, this is a relaxed type atmosphere. And you want the Ren voice? You want the Ren voice?
Here is the Ren voice.
Oh, that hurts. But anyway, BBC had come out with a series in 2010, 2011 called Sherlock, simply called Sherlock. And they had this actor, Benedict Cumberbatch, super low voice, super, like, I don't want to say weird, but he was almost like a no-name. And you have this man, and then you bring in Martin Freeman, who we've seen in Hot Fuzz, we've seen in Shaun of the Dead. He's Bilbo Baggins in the Hobbit series. He is a man who's been everywhere, and we know that he's a great actor. And then for those of you who watch Doctor Who, you know the names Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss. Stephen Moffat is like the creator / genius behind Doctor Who. Well, now he's the GS. He's the genius behind Sherlock. So now you know you've got this series that's really, really great. And then Benedict Cumberbatch was just, oh my God. I believe I would faint if I ever got to meet the man. I mean, he's such a great actor. He could play a very, very convincing sociopath, high-functioning sociopath. And there's just something about him that makes you feel comfortable to know that he is going to be Sherlock. So for 3 series, they've had quite a roller coaster of shows. You get to see all these sorts of emotions, and as you usually see, you get to see characters kind of evolve. Much like we're seeing in The Big Bang Theory, where someone where, like in The Big Bang Theory, you see Sheldon. He first started out as as a sociopath, as someone who just closed himself off, didn't want to interact with anyone, and you then come up with later in the seasons, he starts to open up. He starts to have feelings. He's starting to date someone. Same thing happens with Sherlock after meeting Martin Freeman's character of Dr. John Watson. And the banter between the two just works out perfectly. And then Louise Bradley comes in. She plays Mary. Andrew Scott as Moriarty. You could not ask for a better casting itself. And for 3 wonderful series, this show has just been captivating audiences, both across the pond in Britain and obviously here in the United States. And now, I'm talking about Sherlock. Now we come to New Year's Day. 2016 New Year's Day. BBC comes out with a Sherlock special called The Abominable Bride. Now, we got to see some clips. We got to see the trailer. We got to see pictures and the casting and all that, and the costuming and not the casting, but the costuming and everything. And you get to see that we are no longer in the present day Sherlock universe. We are now in Victorian London. The time of Jack the Ripper, the time of changes, the time of whatever you want to call it, but we are now in the time of Sherlock Holmes. And he's dealing with quite the doozy of a case. A woman goes on a shooting spree in the middle of London, and Happy New Year, crazy Siberian YouTube. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Cheers. Clink. Cheers. No, I guess I should drink, right? I'll explain why I'm drinking whiskey after this commercial break. You have a bride who's shooting into a crowd and misses everybody, and then decides to kill herself. But now her ghost is haunting those, and she's been called. And now there's a case where Sherlock's older brother, Mycroft, wants them to listen to this case because it ties in to this case of all these, I think it was 5 men that were eventually killed by this ghost bride. And it was just an so Sherlock's older brother, Mycroft, told him to listen to a specific case. A case where someone saw this ghost bride and lived to tell about it. For now. It was basically a warning. It was like kind of like putting a nail with a sheet that says "you're next" on your front door, so that when you come back during the day, you're like, right. Yeah, I'm gonna die soon. So this man by the last name of Carmichael has been marked for death. So Sherlock and Dr. Watson try to basically use this Mr. Carmichael as a trap. Use him as bait to try to catch this bride. Now, the whole time, Dr. Watson is going bonkers because he believes that there is a ghost, that there is a spiritual being that is actually doing all this. However, Sherlock, being the smarter one that he is he's a little skeptical. I mean, come on, you need the facts right there in front of you. You need to know that there is you need to know there is a person behind this ghost, whether it's a theatrical staging type mechanic behind it or something. But there is something behind there being a ghost. There's no just ghost whatsoever. Well, he got pips? Like the pips from season 1. Carly. But anyway, so we have the so now we're trying to figure out who is this ghost, yet who isn't this ghost at all. And they're using Mr. Carmichael as a bait, and turns out their plan didn't go as well. Now, to get through this whole case, Sherlock must go deep into what he calls his mind palace. Now, his mind palace can be accessed, usually what we see during the show as going, yes, it's there, it's there, it's there. I'm closing his eyes, putting his hand to his head, everything like that. However, oh man, I got a follow. Hey, Kylo Ren kills blank. Thank you so much for the follow. I don't know where it went, but thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. I hope everyone's enjoying themselves. I do not speak Serbian. I'm sorry, crazy Serbian YouTuber. I'm English. I speak 2 languages, English and bad English. I'm sorry. So now, Sherlock goes...
The force is strong.
There he is. Deary Cope 3000, thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Thank you for hitting that follow button. It's right down there. It's right down there. It's like a little heart. It's like a little heart. You hit the follow button, you know that I'm coming in for it. But yeah, so Crazy and Serbian YouTuber, thank you so much. This is like a follow train. I don't know what the follow. This is great. Welcome, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome. Wow, this is awesome. I should come back more often. So he goes back into his mind palace. However, we find out that he's using again. So now we start to see these vices that Sherlock has always been famous for. Sherlock has always been famous for these vices that he has. These drugs mostly. I mean, what can I say? What can I say? They're terrible. Now, what was great about this episode and what's great about Sherlock the series altogether is that every time they dealt with the drug issue, oh man, can't wait for this. I can't wait for this. They went back into the future. Why? Because Moriarty, if you've seen the end of season 3, and if you haven't, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it. Everybody beware. Oh, wait. Sherlock, Moriarty kills himself at the end of series 2. Now it's safe. Now it's safe. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. Moriarty is supposedly dead. However, at the end of series 3 of Sherlock, the wonderful 2 words come up all over the place. Miss me? With the face of Andrew Scott. Mr. Moriarty, Dr. Moriarty himself, shows up all over the place. As soon as Sherlock is about to be exiled out of England for the crimes that he had just committed at the end of Series 3, and I'll let you all watch it, Moriarty makes his return. So now we keep jumping back and forth. TP Poker, ask away. TP Poker, ask away. We notice that Moriarty starts showing up in this 1800s, sort of Sherlock dream that we're starting to figure out. We're starting to figure out that this whole episode, this whole story is just a dream. And he's using it to try to figure out why Moriarty is back. How can someone who had shot himself in front of Sherlock, the man who can figure out nearly everything, is back? He's not alive, but he is back. So now Sherlock is going all over the place trying to figure out what is going on, both in the 1800s and in the present day. And I gotta tell you, I think we are in for a superb Series 4 of Sherlock. They haven't started taping it yet because, again, Benedict is a little busy being Doctor Strange right now, and Martin just got off of his 2 episodes. But Mark Gatiss had promised that 2017 will be the year we see Sherlock. All right, so TP Poker has a 2-part question, and this is for everyone in chat, all right? So it says, TP Poker thinks the stream is fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You're my new best friend. Crit Camp, you're out. Part 1, how much longer do you think Betty White has? Part 2, TP Poker thinks that Betty White has 1 foot in the ground. I'm going to let people in chat also answer you, because I want to see what other people have. Now, a couple of my friends and I, we used to have kind of like a pool where you get to think about that. Betty White never made the list because for some reason, Betty White is like Superwoman, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Superman. She's just, for some reason, she won't kick it. But we love her for that. We love her for that. Anyway, back to Sherlock. Back to a crazy, crazy special. Sherlock is trying to figure out, both in the real day and in the present day, and in his mind palace, which we find out he kind of went a little bit substance abusey to figure out what went wrong up there, but figures out that the bride, the abominable bride, the bride that happened to kill herself, actually did it out of spite. No, I don't want to say out of spite. Not out of spite, but out of I don't know. She was part. What we figured out was that there was actually this kind of organization of the underappreciated maids, butlers, mostly maids. It was. I think it was all female. So it was maids. It was Dr. Hooper, who in the 1800s had to dress herself up as a man just to be recognized as an actual doctor. And I gotta say, you get to see all this stuff. They got the period stuff pretty darn well, like the Victorian period stuff pretty darn well. So the bride, she did show off that she, what happened was the bride faked her own death, killed her husband, then actually killed herself. And then the people who believed in what she was doing, because her husband was a bad man, and she killed her husband in front of his opium den. That's what it was called, his opium den. I was stalling for opium den. Killed off her husband in front of his opium den, and there were people. There were people that believed in what she was doing, and they felt that they were the ones to do it. They felt that they were the ones to sit there and let the world know that there are bad people out there, but they can go undetected because, as Mycroft said, this is a war that they cannot win. It is an enemy that you cannot defeat. It is an enemy that is all around us, yet never, we would never suspect it. And it does go back to the first episode ever of Sherlock, where I think that episode was The Lady in Pink. From Series 1, Episode 1 of Series 1. It was the same exact kind of... It wasn't the same exact, but it was... The killer was a taxi driver. And Sherlock had to think of the same thing. Who could go around? Who is someone you trust? Who is someone that will be there when you need it, but don't know that you actually need it? And in all the cases that, in that first episode of those who were being killed, it was a taxi driver. And you think to yourself, like, that's crazy, yet it makes perfect sense. A person that is always around that I need, but don't know that I need it until it presents itself. And that's what this society was. This society in the Abominable Snowman, they wanted to let the world know of people who did terrible things. Mr. Carmichael was known for doing terrible things in America. Believe he was, I don't know, I think it was what? He, well, I think he cheated on his wife or something like that. But anyway, they discover that this whole organization is bigger and is more crafty than they think of. Yes, they figured out who killed Mr. Carmichael. Yes, they figured out everything, but it was part of the crowd. It was the who that it was more the who and more of the organization that Mycroft was warning them about that let him know this. Now, I got to say, it's been way too long since we've had Sherlock. And of course, I haven't talked about it in my stream at all because it was not here when I first talked about it, or when I first started the stream. But I can guarantee you this: when Series 4 does come out, it'll be one of the top shows that I talk about, because the way that they shoot it, the way they tell these stories, they're not exactly the same stories as what Sir Arthur Conan Doyle had written in the past. Like, this one was based off of The Adventure of the Musgrave Ritual. That was the short story that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote. However, this was called The Abominable Bride. This series makes you think. It brings you into the investigation. In this instance, it brought you into two separate investigations. The first investigation was that of the Abominable Bride. How could a bride who had killed herself in public be haunting people and could have killed 6 other people, seven other people, because she killed her husband, 5 people, and then Mr. Carmichael. How can a woman who is presumably dead, and then, as we saw in the episode, chained to a table, kill 6 other people? It's very interesting how they did all this. So you have to sit there and think of all the things. And yes, there are some details that are left out, but when Sherlock explains it for both Dr. Watson, for Lieutenant Lestrade, and Mary, Mrs. Watson, he does mention some things that the crowd does not, that us, the audience, would not think of, but we sit there and go, no, that's entirely plausible. It's all parlor tricks. And that is what is great about Sherlock. That is what brings a lot of the people who watch it, that's what keeps bringing them back. Because it gives you the same clues. And it gives the viewers and the characters the same clues, and you get to figure out what's going on. And if you don't figure it out as well as Sherlock, it doesn't mean that you're not Sherlock or not as smart as Sherlock. It just means that he got there before you. But also the actors playing off of each other, the correlation between the relationships between Mycroft and Sherlock Holmes, where Mycroft is convinced that he is smarter than Sherlock, where Sherlock keeps making fun of him for his weight. And we did get to see that bigger Mycroft in this episode back in the 1800s. I gotta say, the first time that they came back to the present day Sherlock episode, I was giddy. In fact, every time I heard the words or I saw the words, "miss me," I was like a 5-year-old walking into a candy store, or FAO Schwartz or Toys R Us for the first time. I was absolutely giddy, because here they're bringing a character that we all know is dead back. And the thing is, at the very end of the episode, Sherlock even says to Mary, Dr. Watson, and his brother, he's back. He's not alive. There's no way he could be alive, but he's back. So that just comes to show you the actual intricacies that this production, that this TV show is going through. And I gotta say, this episode, I'm gonna probably go back and watch it again tonight. It reminded me how much I missed the show and how much I really, really, like, I thought at first, before I started the stream tonight, I was like, oh yeah, the show's coming back in February. We'll be talking about this next month. Everything will be fine. Turns out I was a little wrong. And they actually haven't shot any of the new series yet because everyone's been busy. But the interest is there, and I love it. And I really do hope that that Benedict Martin, Stephen Moffat, Mark Gatiss, Louise Bradley, Breedley, Bradley, Andrew Scott, all of them. Everyone, whoever plays Lestrade, whoever plays, just all of them. I want you back. I want you guys to want to keep doing this because we want you to keep coming back. This episode was just Sherlock in a nutshell. This one special was able to encase everything that was great about this show and just bring it in and just give it to you. Like, just silver platter right here. Take it. Just take this show and bring it out. And I gotta say, for those of you who are not Sherlock fans, I feel sorry for you. You're missing out on an absolute great show. For those of you who have never seen Sherlock, watch it. It's on Netflix. I don't know if all 3 seasons are on Netflix, but I know at least the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. I can't rave enough about this show. And I'll leave it at that. Now,